Yo, what's going on, TSR family? This is the TSR show. Got my boy Smurf, and we got our boy Joe alongside us today. And we are excited. NFL draft is over. Got a lot to talk about. So thank you guys again for joining us for another week of the TSR show. We had some technical difficulties, Hector, with the editing last week, and the show was done, but we'll probably upload that one still. But thank you guys for being patient with us.
Where the file is at.
Yeah, it just died. I'm still new to the editing part, so that one's on me. I'm holding myself accountable. You know what I mean? So my bad, Smurf. And while he was out in Vegas, I tried to do it, and I didn't want to interrupt his vacation that much. So my bad on that. You know what I'm saying? How y'all doing, baby?
Sure,
I'm good.
We good?
I'm well.
Joe with the guns out today.
You feeling good after that Steelers draft, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's get into it.
What do we want to talk about first?
So, first, I wanted to talk about. Yo, hey, my bad. My mind was somewhere else. Talk about, so we had 5 quarterbacks that everybody was writing on about and talking about where they're going to go. We see where they ended up. So my question, y'all, is which quarterback out of those 5 quarterbacks, which quarterback went to the best situation in your eyes?
I'm going to go ahead and start with that one.
Go for it.
I think Trey Lance ended up in the best position. I don't think he was the best quarterback. I think he was probably the worst quarterback out of the first round to get drafted.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
But I think he landed in a position where he's going to end up being the most successful. I think Trevor Lawrence is hands down the best quarterback in the draft, but who knows what his first year coach is going to be like in the NFL. We don't know what the Jags are going to look like. So I think Trey Lance will be the best career, or he'll do the best out of these 5 quarterbacks.
Immediately,
out of the box.
But future-wise?
It depends.
Who did you say again? I'm sorry.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance will be the best out of those 5?
He'll have the best situation because he got drafted to the 49ers. Okay. It depends. Like, what do you consider successful? Like, if Mac Jones ends up winning 2 Super Bowls and no one else does he have the better? Does he become more successful? So what are you grading it on? I think Trey Lance will have the best stats. He's lined up to have the best, stats, win record, all that out of all these quarterbacks out the box. But, in the long haul, we'll see.
So you kind of stole my thunder with Trey Lance because he's obviously going to go to the best team. But I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence simply for the fact that they drafted a running back for him. They've got another good running back in James Robinson.
All right.
They got some good receivers. And they've got an offensive-minded head coach in Urban Meyer.
His first year in the NFL, though, right?
His first year in the NFL, right? I'm not a big fan of him, by the way.
No.
Not a big fan of him. But I feel like he got put into a position where he could succeed right away.
At least it looks like they're trying to make him succeed. They're trying to help him.
Now, the team isn't as good, especially on the defensive end, as the 49ers or the Patriots. And they're probably ahead of the Jets in some regards.
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
And then who was the other one?
Justin Fields to Chicago.
Justin Fields to Chicago.
Well, you had Zach Wilson to the Jets.
Zach Wilson to the Jets and Justin Fields is the other one. So I would say Trevor Lawrence just because he's going into a situation where clearly building around him.
So it's the new generation.
The head coach is an offensive-minded head coach, and they've got some weapons and some protection for him as far as his unit. What about you, Lo Heck?
Well, people know I'm a Justin Fields guy. But if we're talking simply best quarterbacks situation, honestly, I would have to say I'm going to have to go with Fields. I think you got to remember that Nagy coming off the Andy Reid coaching tree, he needed a player like a Fields in order to advance that offensive system. It wasn't there with Trubisky. He wasn't super athletic, super accurate. I think with him coming in, they have, not a great defense, but they have a pretty decent defense to where he doesn't have to go in there and win you that game. But I think the packages that are going to be created by Nagy, which he is he's actually pretty good as far as an offensive mindset and creating packages and creating a system. Now he has a Justin Fields that not can only throw the ball, but also run the ball, run those RPOs, those play actions. And he can actually open up his playbook with the Justin Fields, where I felt like with the Trubisky, he was kind of limited. I'm not saying he's the best out of all of them. That's not the conversation here.
Right.
I just feel like
that situation
really benefited him going with that type of coach.
See, and I think I'm the opposite, man. I think the Bears are probably going to ruin that dude's career. But I think he was the second best quarterback coming out of the draft.
Right.
So I could be wrong.
Right.
Why are they going to ruin his career?
I don't know, man. I don't trust Matt Nagy. A lot of people don't know this, but Trubisky can run. Trubisky was a pretty decent runner, but he never really put him in position to run. And maybe it was the quarterback, but I think they're desperate now. They're going to have to succeed now. If they don't succeed now, then they're done.
And they traded up for Justin Fields.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft. I think he's got it all. The brains, he's got everything. He's got a good attitude. Watch QB1 on Netflix. Talk about him in his senior year of high school. He doesn't have any issues coming out of high school. No, he's never diddled nobody. He's never messed with nobody. He's a good kid. So
I like his character.
Yeah.
I watched that QB1 on him, and that's what I kind of liked about Justin Fields was he wasn't like
a showboaty
guy. He was pretty down to earth. But
here we go with the character.
Nah. But you know how I base it off of. You know what I'm saying? The only thing is offensively with the Bears, I don't feel like they have a lot of weapons in order to make it.
They got some weapons.
They do, but
Allen
it just
Robinson.
depends on how you're going to use Justin Fields.
Right.
Are you going to use him as because we heard that stat a couple weeks ago where you brought it up is a big percentage of his throws were going to his first read. And so
Trubisky with it.
Yeah. So is that going to just be a repeat of what Trubisky was, but then you add some athleticism of Fields to where even if that play breaks down, he can still make a play?
The other thing about the whole throwing to the first read is that I was reading online that basically the analysts were saying if your first read is open, you throw it to them. So that's why he throws to his first read all the time, because they're open.
But the other knock on him is, can he throw his receivers wide open? There's a difference between throwing your receiver open and throwing to him when he's open.
But that's any quarterback in the draft.
Right.
So
right. A lot of quarterbacks in the league right now, you can't picture Lamar Jackson throwing a receiver wide open.
No.
He'll throw a deep pass and it's damn, he's wide open. And Patrick Mahomes does some of that too. But here's my thing back to the Justin Fields. I will not believe a Bears quarterback being good until I see it.
Yeah.
Combined with an Ohio State quarterback being good.
Right.
Yeah.
Until I see it.
And that's kind of that's where you're kind of a little hesitant right there. It's almost like and it's hard. I know it's it's part of the conversation.
But you picked him.
No, and I know, but it's still hard to see. It's hard to pick. Did you see how hesitant I was to actually say it? Because obviously my thing is I wanted to go with the T-Law in Trevor Lawrence, but new head coach, Urban Meyer, last time he was in the NFL, didn't really coach up a team that well. Zach Wilson, the Jets. That's yeah.
Sorry,
Mac
dude.
Jones.
Now Mac Jones is another one.
Yeah, Mac Jones. I'm not high. I think his situation with the Patriots, I think, is a really good situation.
Right.
I think if when you take Mac Jones to go with the Patriots, the only thing is he wasn't the best out of all of them to come out of there. But I think he goes to a situation that can actually, build him up.
Right.
They can coach him up. But if we're talking immediate impact, you're literally only talking about a couple guys.
Right.
T-Law, Justin Fields, maybe a Trey Lance. Trey Lance I like just because of who he's going with, which is a Kyle Shanahan. He's been turning QB's careers around since he's been an offensive coordinator, now a head coach. Made Garoppolo look good. Now we're going to see what Trey Lance has to do in order to be there. The only thing that scares me with the Trey Lance is, like, you didn't really play against huge competition.
Yeah.
So, luckily you have a offensive or you have an offensive-minded coach that actually can build around you and build a system to where you don't have to do a whole lot.
Where he, like, understands your limits, your all that,
Yeah.
And I think whatever quarterback ends up in the situation where they're not expected to win like that, you have Zach Wilson going to the Jets. If he doesn't win 5 games this season, they're going to burn him. They're going to burn him alive. But, I think that's the problem a lot of people have too is, like, you need to let your quarterback, learn. All the best quarterbacks sat for a year, learned for a year, if not half a year. Rodgers didn't play for 3 years, and he turned into an amazing quarterback,
That's where I'm a firm believer on. I'm a firm believer is sometimes we judge quarterbacks too quick.
I agree.
And you need that maturation process to come in because either way, even if you're having the NFL kind of take a little bit of the college game, it's still the NFL.
Yep.
Like you're in college, they're playing up against a defense that has probably like 3 studs on that defense that they have to really worry about, which is one edge rusher, a linebacker, and maybe a cornerback. Now you're going up against the best of the best.
The all-star league.
Men.
Yeah, real men that, on paper, their stats, you might call them scrubs, but you put that team in any situation in college, they're going to tear them up. These guys are faster, they're stronger, and their IQ is so much higher.
Right. They're not going to be teachers. They're not going to be
insurance salesmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is it's hard to also take that college quarterback that's so used to that first read being open every time and seeing, okay, how can you actually read this defense?
Right.
Do you know what they're going to do? How quick can you go through your progressions? How quick are you going to make that decision? Because it's a much faster game now.
Absolutely.
So
I think it's also harsh too because if someone were to tell you that any of these quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence can't read defenses, you'd probably think negatively on him, correct?
Right.
Well, what people don't understand is that Patrick Mahomes didn't learn how to read a defense until his second year of starting,
and he's still talks about
learning.
Like he has trouble with cover 2.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of teams are catching up to him is. That's what Tampa Bay did. I always say Tampa now.
Tampa Bay Gronkers.
That's what you can call it Tampa.
Yeah, you can call it Tampa, right? At this point. But that's what Tampa Bay did so well in the Super Bowl is a lot of cover 2. They were masking a lot of cover 2, and he had struggles with that. Now, that's the difference in the NFL. They know you're the quarterback next year. You don't have a turnover of quarterbacks, and now you're switching systems like you do in college. That film on you, they see what works, and everybody knows what their job is to do in order to contain you.
Absolutely.
Who are we most excited to see play next year?
I was excited to see Justin Fields because I think, like I said, he was probably the second best quarterback in this draft. But I'm excited to see Mac Jones and Trey Lance, to be honest with you guys.
I'm excited to see the first 3 picks. Trey Lance, Zach
Trevor
Wilson,
Lawrence.
and Trevor Lawrence.
I think Zach Wilson is going to be Sam Darnold 2.0.
I'm excited. Like, out of all of them, T-Law.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him just because I'm also excited to see, like, what Urban Meyer does.
Right.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of Urban Meyer, but I want to see I want to see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, especially Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, just to, what's the hype on these cats?
Yeah.
Now, we know Trevor Lawrence is going to start. We know Zach Wilson is going to start. Is Trey Lance going to start?
I think
Week 1, is he starting?
No, unless Jimmy G gets hurt. I think they're going to say Jimmy G's the starting QB. He's going to struggle. He's going to come up with some random hamstring injury, and then they're going to put him in. He's going to start week 4.
I don't think he's going to start, but I don't think he's going to have a long leash to get to that starting position.
I agree.
So basically what you guys are saying is they're not getting rid of Jimmy G.
I don't think they're going to get rid of him to begin the season. I think, and it's hard to say. I mean, we don't know how Trey Lance is going to perform in training camp and the OTAs and all that. just because you're a first round pick doesn't mean you're going to start right away.
Right.
I think if he can pick up quick, like I said, I don't think the leash is going to be hard. T-Law, you already know he's starting. Zach Wilson has to start. I mean,
what about Cam spelled backwards? Is he going to start?
I think so. That with the Patriots, knowing the Patriots way, there's going to be competition.
Yeah,
that's QB competition in all of training camp. So that's a borderline 50-50. Is Mac Jones going to perform better, or not necessarily perform better? Is he going to be performing better in what they want him to do as opposed to a camp?
What about Justin Fields?
I think he starts
over Andy Dalton, dude.
Tell us about Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle, dude.
Hey, y'all got film on Dalton. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got film on Dalton.
That was the most depressing thing last year is when he was starting for the Cowboys after Dak got hurt and he got laid out by a linebacker and everyone was looking at him. None of the Cowboys walked up to help him up. Yeah. They just all looked at him. Yeah, he got laid out.
But it was funny because then Pollard took like a hit like that and everybody.
Yeah, they rushed. No one cared. They were like, oh, he got. Fucked.
But the thing is, that's why like you saw what Andy Dalton did, and he actually had weapons around him.
Yeah,
and didn't really do much with it. So I say Andy Dalton right now has the starting job like they told him.
Yeah.
But same thing.
Short leash,
man. Like the minute I'm talking in the first game, if you don't perform well, they're going to throw, especially if it's a blowout, like fourth quarter, they're going to throw Fields in and see if he can provide that spark.
I think Mac Jones will be the last one to start just because I think Cam's better than Andy Dalton.
I disagree.
You disagree?
You love Cam Newton, huh?
I don't like Cam Newton one bit. But I think Cam Newton – So here's the thing. Mac Jones isn't replacing Brady. He's replacing the guy that replaced Brady. But they're gonna let Mac Jones sit and learn. They want him to learn the offense. You know?
Yeah, that's the Patriot way. You gotta see it. They're not gonna – you're not automatically starting, bro. You're not.
But I think Cam brings more to the table than the Red Rifle. So.
Right. But now, sticking on with the draft, we all have our own teams. So I wanted to hear your guys' take on how well you think your individual team drafted.
And critique each other's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start it off. So what I've heard is with the first couple of picks as regard to the Steelers.
Oh, you're going to start with my team?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this.
Well, with the Steelers is, so they draft the running back in the first round.
Okay.
Not a big fan of drafting running backs in the first round. You're going to tell us about, how you feel about the pick.
I agree.
And then they draft a tight end after that, right?
All right.
And then they draft offensive linemen after that.
Yep.
We're talking about the Steelers?
Yes, sir.
The Steelers right now. Now, given the fact that the Steelers have offensive line issues,
okay,
they prioritize from the back towards the line instead of from the line towards the back.
Sure. You could argue that.
As far as the Cowboys, I do like the Micah Parsons pick. But besides that, I kept hearing that you guys reached. So I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about your draft, but we'll start it off with the Squealer fan over here.
Let's do it. Oh, you want me to judge your guys or judge my own?
However you want.
Just do both. Yeah.
So I'll start with the Cowboys. They got a linebacker. Sean Lee retired, and Van Der Esch.
Finally.
Van Der Esch.
Not like finally in a bad way, but it was like, come on, bro. Like, we need you to play a full season, and if not, there's only 53 men on the roster.
Right. So they addressed a glaring need. Sean Lee, he retired. Van Der Esch can't stay healthy, and what's the guy? Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
He hasn't performed as well since he got paid. So you have to address that. The defense was a absolute, huh? it was a need. I think they did well. They addressed needs. And they probably drafted the best player available, which was also a need. So I think they did pretty good in the first round. Later rounds, it's hard to say because I'm not really caught up on all the needs that they have. But I think if you address the most defense, which was their biggest need, they nailed it. They hit it out of the park. I think if you reach for players that fill your needs, then yeah, go for it. You know, because they're not going to draft a receiver.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd give him a good grade, good passing grade, good job.
Okay.
Did good, pal. Raiders, I don't know. I'm not a fan of John Gruden. From everything I hear about the guy, he falls in love with a player, and then he meets said player and says, "You're not who I fell in love with," and then gets rid of them. But they're building the Kansas City 2.0. You know, so they're going to need solid offensive line help. You know, they have their Travis Kelce with I forget his name, tight end. Darren Waller. They have their Waller. They have their speed demon in Ruggs. They just got to shore up the line. They're like the Diet Kansas City Chiefs. You know, so you got to shore up the line.
And there's nothing wrong with the line.
No.
It's just that
you don't want to end up in a situation like KC was, where their line was hurt and suddenly all your offensive weapons are useless.
So the Raiders only signed of their first round picks in like the past like 10 years actually, maybe longer than that. They've only re-signed 2 first-round picks to a second contract. Darren McFadden and Colton Miller, which is the left tackle.
Jesus.
So they traded Rodney Hudson.
Cleo Mack.
They traded. Well, I'm just talking about the offensive line.
Okay.
They traded Rodney Hudson. They traded. Trent Brown. So the center and the right tackle gone. Incognito's back. They traded Gabe Jackson, so another guard is gone to the Seahawks. So you basically got your left tackle, Richie Incognito. Lord knows what's going to happen at center, and then you draft your right tackle.
Okay.
And right now, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to maul people. They're building up again the offensive line.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they put themselves in that position where they had to draft a tackle. They need defense. So after the tackle, they drafted all defense.
Right. So they addressed the need?
I feel like they, I guess, reached for that tackle. But that's a lot of, like, Twitter that says that. Like a lot of
people that are not GMs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I get it, tackle. It's a boring pick, but sometimes it'll help.
It's a sexy
in the
pick.
second round, they got a free safety, which I guess was a good value pick.
Right.
He was just hurt. As far as the Cowboys, though, I do like the Micah Parsons pick.
Yeah.
Other than the hazing. I heard Ezekiel Elliott tweeted out he don't want to get touched by Micah Parsons. Did y'all see that tweet?
I didn't.
I didn't see that one.
Okay.
So apparently, from what I read, though, that he wasn't actually involved, but he was like on the team when it happened.
Okay. But
so
talk to us about the Steelers now.
So the Steelers, really only need they had this season was, help in the run game. You could say that's offensive line. I'd argue that we're missing 3 of our starters last year before the season started. We got 1 of them back. 2 of them retired. You could say that it was running back that we should have addressed. James Conner was never healthy, and our backup was a 4th-round draft pick, Benny Snell. So what if I told you we get a healthy running back, get a little bit of extra depth at the line and on our line, that fixes the run game? What if I also told you our offensive coordinator was only given the job because he was really good buddies with Mike Tomlin?
Your current offensive coordinator.
No, they just got rid of Randy Fichtner. They didn't fire. Steelers don't fire coordinators, coaches, or anything like that. They just say, all right, we're not extending you. So they didn't extend his contract, and then they promoted the QB coach named Matt Canada. Supposedly this guy does a lot of motions to reveal what the defense is doing. Randy Fichtner couldn't read a defense. There's rumors last year that they unplugged his headset. So when he'd radio in the play to Big Ben wouldn't get the play because they unplugged his headset. Mm-hmm. So he'd think he's calling the play. Big Ben would call something else, and then, people got upset about that. But, I mean, if the guy's calling terrible plays, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to be good as a play caller.
Yeah.
And it was clear and obvious that he was not very good. So when you address the run game, they picked up Najee Harris, which I think was the best running back in the draft. He's big. He's a runner. He's a Steeler. They picked up a Steeler. You could look at some players and think that guy's a Cowboy. You look at some players and think that guy's a Raider. I look at Najee Harris and I think that guy's a Steeler. After him, they picked up a tight end. Mm-hmm. He was ranked the 2nd best tight end in the draft. But when you have Kyle Pitts, who's a generational talent, is that really a knock for not being the best tight end in the draft? I think he's supposed to be a really good run-blocking tight end as well. Eric Ebron does not run block. Eric Ebron does is drop passes.
He's a has-been.
Yeah. All he does is drop passes, dude. Him and Deontay Johnson led the league in drop passes last year. They were 1 and 2. So that's issues right there. And then the 3rd and 4th round picks were center and a
So
tackle.
finally addressing the
line.
The line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Zach Banner was hurt. He comes back. He's healthy this year. Pouncey retired, so we got to address that. We addressed that with our 3rd round pick, and then we lost Alejandro Villanueva, so we have to replace him. He was a tackle. We replaced tackle.
the Army dude.
Yeah.
He's not with the team no more.
No.
Who's
He
he with now?
retired, right?
No, he's supposed to, he was being looked at by the Raiders, but he's probably going to sign with the team after the draft. He was a 6th round draft pick. So, 2 years ago, he was on one of the best offensive lines in the league, So, what happened?
They aged.
Sure. But I'm just saying, he's a 6th round draft pick. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to get a lineman in the 1st round every time.
So what is your take on that? My take is if whatever running back the Steelers had back there last year can't get the job done behind that offensive line, what makes him think that Najee Harris is going to get the job done behind that?
Well, it's a different offensive line.
It's a different offensive line now. It's a different offensive line, but who's your left tackle?
I don't know all of them by name. We got Zach Banner and then Chuks Okorafor. I don't know which one's right and which one's left.
Okay. How many returning starters do you guys have back?
Zach Banner technically didn't start last year because he got injured in training camp. So you got Chuks Okorafor.
How many rookies are starting on the line?
Probably none.
None?
We got Matt Filer at center. Brought him in. He's got experience with the team. Chuks Okorafor replaced Zach Banner last year. Zach Banner's coming back, so we'll probably move him to their side. And then we got our guards.
It's just like where do you stand with that?
I'm a firm believer that the offensive line makes the running back doesn't make the line. And so because I've just seen it too much, I think sometimes you have really great running backs that just don't have a line. Like they still need a hole to run through. They can't make that hole by themselves.
Sure.
And that's kind of what you saw like with Leonard Fournette. In Jacksonville, he didn't really – he was a nice running back coming out of college. He goes there, doesn't really do much. He provides a little bit of hype. But now you put him with the Bucs where they do have a good line, and he actually looks like, oh, this is what he should have been doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So – and I've also kind of seen that in my own team with the Cowboys. When Zeke came in, we had the great wall.
Yeah.
And he looks great. And we want to bag on Zeke as far as – and I'll be honest, like
He's
he
gained
hasn't
some weight.
performed well
Yeah.
after that. But for the past 2 years, the line's been getting hurt and decimated. So it makes it harder for him to actually make plays if there's no holes open.
Right.
So –
but here's the thing, though. You don't need the best line.
no, you just need
But here's my thing though. Drafting a running back in the 1st round is what I just can't get behind.
Okay, let me address that, though. So, Big Ben. The only reason why they're doing any of this is for Big Ben. There's a reason they didn't draft a quarterback. There's a reason they didn't move up. They want to get Big Ben another Super Bowl. They're not worried about 4 years from now if Najee Harris can play or not. They're worried about right now. Can Najee Harris help Big Ben get a Super Bowl right now? Of course he can.
Can they protect Big Ben?
Yeah. I think they did a great job protecting him last year.
Well, the other thing is Big Ben gets rid of the ball quick.
Well, he was getting rid of the ball too quick because they couldn't. They didn't have a running back to hand the ball off to.
Okay. So where do you stand with the Cowboys draft, Heckelek?
was
there a lot of reaches in day 2?
I think there was. Look, in day 2, you had Kelvin Joseph, which I don't think was actually a bad pick.
You guys needed a corner too.
Yeah, they went heavy on defense, which like they drafted a lot of corners. A couple, you had a tackle and a defensive end get drafted. Osa Odigizua, I guess, was a little bit of a reach. I was happy with them addressing the needs on defense. I think Dan Quinn had a really big take on that. especially with the free agent signings of like Keanu Neal.
Yep.
They were early on in that talk, in that signing, they were talking about moving him from safety down to linebacker. Now you have a Micah Parsons come in.
Right.
You have a Jabril Cox come in, who were kind of Jabril Cox, I felt like was a kind of a steal in the draft later on in that round. Not saying he's a great talent, but I love his motor. I love his skills. He's a playmaker, so they addressed those needs, especially after Sean Lee getting retired. But one thing that I do feel like with the Cowboys is the offensive line. I would have loved to see a offensive lineman, especially a tackle, be taken early on. I've seen too many linemen later on in the rounds that get drafted and just don't really pan out. And it's kind of, linemen are one of those things to me that they're drafted that low for a reason. You know what I mean? Whereas cornerbacks and like wide receivers, you can find them because it's just like athleticism. They have that athleticism. Yeah, all they got to do is learn a playbook. But early offensive linemen, I feel like they're top rated for a reason.
And you could always kick them in a guard.
Yeah, you can always kick them in the guard. They have the tangibles in order to play that position. And later on, the Cowboys just have not had luck later on from 3 on to the end of the rounds of drafting linemen that are actually good and pick up real quick. You had Connor Williams, his 3rd year in, hasn't really had a huge impact. Tyler Biadasz as our center, I'm hearing good things about him, but he kind of got thrusted in there with the Joe Looney injury last year, and so it's just hard for me to. I like what they addressed in the draft, but I felt like we need to start really building that line again.
But they forgot to address one key position. They didn't trade up for a quarterback.
Shut up, bro. I kept hearing that all week, bro. Like, so the Cowboys should just trade up and try to get Justin Fields. And my buddy texted me.
Why didn't you guys trade up to get Mac Jones? I'm hearing y'all need a quarterback with 2 legs.
Offensively, I think we're all good. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I said, look, because he was asking me, what are the Cowboys going to go first round? I said, look, if Penei Sewell or Penei Sewell, I say Sewell. I don't know.
That's how it looks like it's spelled.
Sewell isn't there. He was here. Jerry Jones was like, "Oh, I'm high on Kyle Pitts." I didn't feel like we needed a Kyle Pitts. Yeah, he's a generational talent.
He wasn't gonna last.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna last. And then Patrick Surtain was probably.
I kept seeing him mocked to the Cowboys.
He was drafted the pick right before you guys to the Broncos.
Yeah, he was right before. And so in that draft, I felt like the Eagles and the Cowboys were kind of in cahoots to like screw over the Giants.
Because they needed a receiver, right?
Yeah, so Surtain comes off right before. Eagles trade up to get Devontae Smith. And we end up just trading back. No one was thinking even like Micah Parsons, because you think about it right after. It was literally like the NFC East picks.
Yeah.
Back to back to back. And so I felt like they kind of screwed over the Giants and not taking Devontae Smith, knowing that they need a receiver. We didn't need a receiver. Micah Parsons was still there. Now, as far as like the Steelers, well, I'll go with the Raiders. The Raiders, I felt like were kind of reaching from the jump. I'm not too particular on what your guys' needs are. Y'all need.
They needed a right tackle. Help. They needed a right tackle.
They needed a right tackle. I felt like Leatherwood, you could have picked him up later on in the draft. You didn't have to trade up to get him, or you could have just stayed.
Well, they didn't trade up.
I mean, you didn't have to reach to get him. I felt like he could have stayed.
I like
there.
the pick.
You like it?
And I have, you know me, I have a lot of like, I'm very objective with the Raiders, but I like the pick because I guess the Ravens were going to draft him.
Right.
Go on.
And also, I don't know about too much about Malcolm Kuntz.
That's later in the round. At that point, you're just throwing darts.
3. Yeah, you're just trying to see what goes on. If I'm gonna give the Raiders a grade, say like a B minus.
I don't give out grades until I see them play.
No, yeah, and you got to see them. But, this is post draft talk.
Yeah.
Now, the Steelers, y'all gave up on Connor real quick. I mean, they were just like, nah, we're going to take Najee Harris. Like,
well, he's a free agent. He's gone.
He signed with the Jets, didn't he?
No, the Cardinals.
Yeah,
he's with the Cardinals. So we
y'all needed a quarterback in my opinion.
I don't
should have traded up to get some. Even a Mac Jones would have probably helped.
I don't think so. I think Ben's got enough for another 1, maybe 2 years.
He's riding the Big Ben wave,
bro. But that's like that train is gone.
No, I don't think so, man. I'm telling you. He had Tommy John. Let's say what happens typically to pitchers when they come back from Tommy John. Their arm gets stronger. You know?
I'm not saying his career is gone like he is, but it's just like,
I think if they should have probably got maybe one in the second round or something. Cause
it just feels like Big Ben should have been out the league like along with like Breeze and Peyton Manning.
He's like 3 or 4 years younger than them, dude.
Right
like I don't know. Like,
he's not even 40 yet.
His body's like 52 right now.
He's not even 40 yet. What is he, Tom Brady?
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I just think he's got at least 1 more year.
Okay, what about your pass rush? You guys lost Bud Dupree.
Okay.
Who's gonna take up for Bud Dupree?
We have 3 studs. What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, and the D tackles, and you got T.J. Watt. If this guy could,
okay, so interior pass rush, and what about your linebackers? What about off the ball pass rush?
Off the ball, Loudermilk. Yeah, they drafted him like the 4th round. So last year was wild. We lost all of our depth at inside linebacker, and we're playing safeties for like the last.
But you guys are getting Bush back.
We're getting Bush back. We've got everyone back pretty much on linebacker. The only really bad things that we lost Bud Dupree, Mike Hilton, and then I forget the other guy's name. He wanted to be traded because he didn't want to compete. He was worried that he was going to be the number 2 cornerback. You're not going to compete with Joe Hayden for number 1, and he didn't want to compete for number 2.
And so
he didn't want to compete with Cam Sutton.
The draft is exciting. We all love it. We all like to see it. But I've seen first-round picks get
me too.
And I've seen 6-round picks
Landry Jones
go on and get 2
Jarvis
contract
Jones
extensions and really be bona fide. So it's hard to say now. Obviously, we want to talk about it and have that conversation. But like I said, I think the Cowboys really felt like the need was there.
Passing notes
in
okay.
As far as the defense. So, but moving on. Obviously, we heard early before the draft was starting that there was Aaron Rodgers is just unhappy in Green Bay. He obviously doesn't want to be there. Obviously doesn't want to have that contract extension that they offered him.
Right.
So, where do you guys see Aaron Rodgers getting traded?
So, quick disclaimer on this: before you were even here, before the show started, he was like.
Oh, let me tell it. Like, hold on. Let me say this.
All right, go ahead.
I can't stand Rodgers.
Like I can't stand Aaron Rodgers.
And I think
Big Ben like him on the Steelers.
Yeah, I think Big Ben's got another year. But if you tell me, hey, Big Ben, retire.
He keeps going with his Big Ben.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think if you could get a guy like Rodgers is going to be like Brady. He's going to play into his 40s.
He doesn't even call him Ben Roethlisberger.
Big Ben.
He just calls him Big Ben.
I don't call Jerome Bettis by his name. I say the bus.
I know. It's just you repeatedly say it.
Big Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you would rather have Aaron Rodgers than Big Ben?
At this point, yeah.
So.
But here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league right now.
Right.
Okay. Would you not want the best quarterback in the league on your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
There we go then.
Obviously.
Plus, if you could potentially sign him for the next 5 years, easily, because he's like
what is he, 30? So
he's like 37
right now, right?
He's 37.
37.
Yeah, he's a year younger than Big Ben. Big Ben's 38. So that's the only reason why I know that.
Big Ben looks way older than
bro. He's not 40. He looks like he's 42.
Aaron Rodgers is 37?
Yeah, bro. He's going up there. Why do you think he's not unhappy now? So my kind of whole thing with the whole Green Bay situation is they've been taking. Now, early on, I wasn't a big Rodgers fan.
Same
but
boat.
it was kind of like with you. It was I didn't like him because he wasn't on my team. That was like one of those things. It was kind of like.
Do you want to hear why I don't like him? So if I make like a top 20 list of celebrities that I'd love to be with, experience, you know.
He's been with all of them.
He's been with 3 of them. Shailene Woodley, Danica Patrick, and Olivia Munn. And I'm like, bruh.
So that's why you hate him? Just
but that's part of it, you know.
And he's played with your crush, B.J. Raji.
No, I can't stand B.J. Raji. Plus, I mean, Packers beat Steelers in the Super Bowl. I mean,
he played under your cousin, Mike McCarthy.
He's not my cousin. What, you think all fat people are related? It's not cool, man. I'm not even white. Like, what are we talking about here? I got a little bit of a neck. You know, you can't call me No Neck Joe. I got a little.
No Neck Joe.
I got a little something, you know.
Wide Awake Joe.
My brother Head and Shoulders.
You know? But I mean, I would take Rodgers on my team. You know, trade for him, do what you got to do.
Obviously, anybody would.
No, but so what do you? So do you guys feel like he's gonna be suiting up for the Green Bay Packers next season?
Yeah, they ain't gonna get rid of him.
No, but even if they don't get rid of him, like you see him.
Yeah, he's gonna be there. They're gonna make amends. He's gonna be there.
He threatened to retire if they don't.
That's the thing. He threatened to retire.
Maybe it's a ploy to get more money. Here's my take on it. So he named 3 destinations to play for.
I know about one. AJ Hawk confirmed Broncos.
He said 49ers, Raiders, and maybe the Broncos is the other one.
I know for a fact AJ Hawk said I've heard him talk about playing for the Broncos, so I know he wants to play there. That was on the McAfee show.
But anywho, I could see the 49ers. Now, 49ers already got their quarterback. The Raiders.
This was also pre-draft when he released that list.
Yeah. Now, the Raiders have a quarterback, but I guess the Raiders are happy with Derek Carr, but they're intrigued by the possibility. It's funny how all these top quarterbacks want to come and play for John Gruden. And then the other one was, I guess, the Broncos. I can't remember what was the third team.
Pretty sure it was the Broncos.
But, I don't know why he would want to play in Denver.
Why not? They have better offensive pieces than he's got.
Than the Packers?
Yeah.
Who?
They got Sutton. They got Jared Jeudy.
Devontae Adams.
Okay, so you got one great receiver versus 2 good ones.
Well, they got Marquez Scantlin, MVS.
He's probably nothing without Rodgers.
But he's got that speed, baby. He's got that breakaway speed.
So
and they've got Aaron Jones.
All right. They got Melvin Gordon in with the Broncos.
Who you got protecting?
I don't know about Aaron Jones. He shit the bed in the playoffs.
Who's got the better offensive line?
I would say the Broncos, and I'll tell you why. They got a secret weapon. Hold on. Let me tell you why.
Talk to him. He'll talk back.
All right, T-Pain. I heard that on a song, and I was like, they say that all the time. Well, anyway, so when the Steelers had the best offensive line that they've had in a while, it's because they had Mike Munchak as their offensive line coach. As soon as Mike Munchak left, their rank dipped at least 10 positions. Where did Mike Munchak go? He's currently coaching for the Denver Broncos. I think Mike Munchak can make that offensive line a lot better. And here's the thing with Rodgers. You don't need the best offensive line because he's going to escape the pocket anyway. If he's better on the run, you kind of almost want him to escape the pocket. So you don't need the best offensive line. He needs weapons to throw to.
What is your love for Denver? What is it?
I fucking hate Denver. I hate Denver and I hate the Green Bay Packers. So I don't want him to go to the Broncos. I hate the Broncos.
You're saying but I think those 3, he feels like that's the best situation.
I feel like
it's obviously the Niners. If we're gonna take it there.
No, I think the Broncos is the most realistic situation. Because the Niners, any quarterback going to the Niners, they're going to succeed.
What are they going to give up? What's Denver going to give up?
Yeah,
probably some picks. Because what are you going to need for the first round?
And those picks are going to be early second round picks, if you think about it.
Sure.
They're going to be 20-something.
Sure.
You have the Niners that can actually give up some stuff. Like
Joey Bosa.
They might be able to give up.
I'm not giving up Joey Bosa.
But
for Rodgers?
Exactly. For Rodgers.
Hey, I don't know.
Talk to me. I'll talk back. Joey Bosa.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, who want Bosa? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a third. You know what I'm saying?
Not a third.
No. I think you get I don't know. I have a weird mindset when it comes to this. Obviously, there's a reason why.
Rodgers' account number. You know what I'm saying? We'll take over that.
You want my 2030 pick? You take it. Take all of them. I'm not going to be working for this team at that point in time.
Honestly, Rodgers would be better with the Raiders.
I think
they got the weapons between both teams.
You and I were talking about this earlier off camera. I think he would be good with the Raiders. Get rid of Carr.
But you said Broncos.
I know, but I think that's the most likely. I think that's where he's going to end up, to be honest
the Raiders?
with you. No, Broncos.
Oh.
So what would the Raiders give up? Carr? You have to give up Carr.
They would have to. Here's the thing: when you talk realistic, I think it's more realistic with the Raiders because Carr has value as opposed to Drew Lock.
Sure.
Or
The Packers are not going to want a quarterback in return. That's the thing.
But if you give them like 6 first-round draft picks?
Okay, so but are the Broncos going to do that? The Raiders could flip Carr to someone else and get picks out of that. Distribute those to
Who's
going to
trade for Carr? You're going to get a 3rd-round pick for him. Nobody wants him.
What do you mean a 3rd-round pick? His value is high right now.
No, it's not. Who wants him?
It is.
Who needs a QB?
Washington.
I'd rather have Fitzpatrick than Derek Garbage.
I bet you the Steelers would rather have Derek Carr over Big Ben.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they would.
They're not.
They're
not getting rid of Big Ben. Obviously, that's a fantasy situation to get Rodgers, but they're going to ride with Big Ben for a year. They gave Mason Rudolph maybe next year when Big Ben's not on the team.
So Ian Rappaport came out and he said that when the whole Carson Wentz thing was going on, Derek Carr's market right now was 2 first-round picks.
That's before the draft.
Well, that's before the draft, but still, you think it's going to go from 2 first-round picks to a 3rd-round pick?
Yeah, because nobody wants him. 2, nobody needs him. Who needs him right now?
It's going to go higher. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the draft is gone. Now they're willing to spend next year's draft picks, as where before the draft.
But there's
I still want to draft right now.
There's no demand for an average quarterback right now, though.
I don't think he's an average quarterback, though.
Well, I mean, I do.
There's a lot of teams out there that would rather have him than to try to build something or coach somebody up. Like you have Washington, you have
Washington will probably draft a quarterback next year.
Even the Dolphins would probably rather take a Carr, especially in where they are in their organization and where they are with their team.
The Colts wanted Derek Carr.
They got Carson Wentz.
The Bears wanted Derek Carr.
They got Justin Fields.
The Vikings.
I don't know about the Vikings.
They'll probably. I mean, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, same. One's in the West.
I think Kirk Cousins is good, to be honest.
I agree.
I think Kirk Cousins is good. Now he's a middle of the road quarterback.
I would say Carr's better than Kirk Cousins, but what you'd have to trade to get him, what are you getting? What are you getting?
Well, back to what we were saying.
Sure.
I think you could get more out of Carr than out of Drew Lock.
Sure. But I don't think they're going to get rid of Drew Lock. I think they're going to just say, hey, take our next 6th-round draft picks.
And that's a mistake, to be honest.
I mean, if it wins you a Super Bowl, who cares? If it wins you a Super Bowl, who cares?
He's not, though.
No, I'm saying if they get Rodgers for 6 first-round draft picks, who cares?
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying. I'm talking about Drew Lock.
Sell out like kind of like what they did with the Manning era.
Yeah.
If that's kind of like
that was 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's almost like the Broncos' MO now. Like they build it enough, and then they're willing to give up a lot of stock for that 1 year.
Yeah.
And look, they got it. And
Manning walked up to them and said, "Hey, can I play with you guys?" And they're like, "Sure, pal. Yeah. We'll get rid of Tim Tebow."
No, and speaking of Tim Tebow or Tim Tebow.
Talk about the guy that beat the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Clark.
Hey, why do you think I hate the Broncos too, man? We're learning a lot about me right now, all right?
Hey, I can't stand the Broncos.
That's because they're in your division. I can't stand the Broncos because most of my friends are Broncos fans.
What do y'all think about Tim Tebow wanting to return to the NFL with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville as a tight end?
He probably should have done that when he was in his 20s.
That's what you call getting a job based on someone you know.
Nepotism.
Yeah. That's what I was going with.
He hasn't gotten the job, but he got a workout as a tight end.
To me, it's just like, look, man, we've seen what you can do. Obviously, it doesn't go well. That's like
I've seen
and
what he can do.
And then Tim Tebow, bro, like you should have done this a long ass time ago.
Yeah, like you should have at least been a backup to, you know what I mean, throughout all these years instead of trying to pursue all these. Now, he pursued other things, baseball, an analyst, and didn't do too bad. But now you're kind of like going back. You're not in shape. I wouldn't say he's not in shape, but like football shape is different.
Right.
He took many years off in order to not get hit. Like when you don't get hit for that many years,
Yeah.
Like, you even hear players now that they still have to get used to getting hit in the offseason. And that's where they build up like that. Okay, I'm going to get hit type of deal.
It's what you call keep talking while I think of the word.
Yeah, like it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Can he catch? We don't know.
And that's the thing is like we don't know. I mean, you have Urban Meyer coming in there, and to me, it's just kind of like, bro, your time has passed. It's gone. Like, don't ruin it for the next guy up.
I think
it's kind of how I feel.
If he can catch or if he can block, bring him in. Because that's the tight end's 2 jobs, catch and block. If he can't do neither, hang him up.
But how would you feel if you just got drafted, right? And this tight end comes in, and he's like, hey, I want to play for y'all. I know I haven't played in 6 years. And he gets that job over you.
Can he catch? Can he catch?
No, but how you feeling? Like, I'm saying you just got drafted. You just came off of playing whatever from Alabama or whatever. You come in.
Well, I'm going to show him up in training camp and say, hey, look, this is what I could do.
This fool can't catch? I'll catch everything.
So do you think he gets the starting job just by who he knows?
No, he's not going to be he's not a starting
it's
tight
still a
end.
meritocracy at this point.
You can't be a starting tight end after not even playing the damn position.
Well, they haven't signed him yet, so it's really not like nothing's official. They just worked him out, but can he catch? That's probably what they're trying to find out.
And the other thing is we're going to see a tight end with the number 15.
Yeah.
Was that segue into the number thing?
We already talked about it. I'm not a big fan of it.
I think it's
Hey,
We talked about it, but it wasn't aired.
Oh,
it was cool. I know.
Hey, watch next episode.
Yeah, last week's episode, but it's gonna be uploaded this week.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
hey, scouting report, baby.
Hey, just
TSR show.
yeah, man. So I mean, I'm excited for this NFL season coming up. I like to really see who's gonna start, who's gonna make an impact.
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. I'm excited from my team standpoint. I see what Dan Quinn, he's having a lot of say in this defense.
Gus Bradley.
Yeah. So, but now I just got to see, is it going to work?
Well, another thing is they're still
Wait till the season starts and he's going to be like, next year's our year.
they're still free agents too,
Bro, and that first game determines so much for me as a Cowboys fan. Like, and we always tend to like we'll win that first game because we've been playing like the Giants usually.
Yeah, you guys play the Giants first game.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why, but then like after that, I get all hyped and I'm like, oh, bro, we just lost to like the Saints.
See, I hope the Cowboys just start off like
hella hot.
10-3 and Hector's hype, and see how it goes in the postseason.
Like that 13-3 season, and then the 12-4 season. I was all hyped in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's end it on this. Joe wants to talk about the 17th game.
Okay.
Which 17th game do you guys think is going to be the best?
Read 'em off.
So read them off to us.
We have
intriguing. We don't want to hear Browns and Dolphins.
Browns Cardinals actually.
You know what
we got Kansas City Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm only going to look at the playoff ones. We got Buccaneers Colts. Colts had the second best defense last year. Really only didn't do that great because
That's fraud.
Phillip Rivers.
Fraud.
Really?
That's a fraudish defense.
Fraudish defense?
Yeah.
The Colts?
Yeah.
Their defense is solid, dude.
Fraudish defense. Keep going.
All right. We got the Saints and Titans.
That's another.
You started off strong.
I know. That's a divisional game. We're gonna see that early on, anyway.
That's not a divisional game.
I mean, fuck.
Conference?
Conference.
They're not in the same conference. It's
Well,
NFC.
who'd you say?
Saints Titans.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, never mind. AFC and NFC.
Then we got the Rams
I'm
and the
thinking
Ravens.
Panthers.
Huh?
Oh, we got Rams Ravens.
That was a good one.
You know,
That one's going to be a good one.
it's going to be interesting. I think Matthew Stafford's going to turn that team into a pretty decent offense. I don't know what happened to Jared Goff. His first year in the Sean McVay offense, he was unbelievable, and then he just turned into a bust again.
It's because
I don't think he was. I don't even think he played that bad. It's just they have. To me, it's. I can do better.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
They
hey
Sean
girl,
McVay is like the Billy Bean.
it's
Moneyball
like
to him.
it's like
Because
hey girl, you look fine. Like you're fine. You know what I'm saying? You're good looking.
thanks.
But she's got bigger tits and she's got a bigger ass.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll work on myself. I got you.
But who else?
And then the final one is the Steelers and Seahawks.
Rematch of the Super Bowl that y'all should have lost.
How?
Sean Alexander got in.
Okay. It's not my fault.
I'm just saying. No one says it's your fault. You get real defensive when it comes to,
I do.
to the Steelers.
I do.
You get real defensive.
He gets like heated up.
You get real defensive.
He's like, shouldn't have won. Why?
That's not my fault.
Yeah, it's like, who said it was your fault?
No one's accusing you. Honestly, though, like that Green Bay Kansas City game is going to be wild.
Yeah.
Assuming Rodgers plays. If Rodgers says retire, I'm retired.
Yeah, if in a perfect world, let's say this.
Honestly,
It could be Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh.
I mean, what are we talking? That's a
think,
blowout.
I think
That's a
that
blowout.
one, KC and Green Bay, is the most intriguing.
I agree.
But I do want to see Rams and Ravens.
I agree.
I think that's going to be a solid one.
Cowboys and Patriots is
Cowboys
another
and
one.
Patriots.
What are we
Mac
talking
Jones
about?
against
Dak Prescott.
no, it'll be his backup because he'll be hurt.
Mac versus Dak. You don't want to see that?
It'll be Mac against
Mac and Dak Prescott's had like one injury in his whole career.
Yeah, bro. Like
He's
y'all
solid.
gotta chill on that.
You know,
Like,
he's a little thick, getting up there a little weight. You know, but he's fine.
how come no one likes Dak, bro?
I like Dak.
Like,
I just said he's a little thick. There's nothing wrong with being a little thick.
Like, I don't know. We'll see this season.
What else?
That's it for the playoff teams.
KC versus Green Bay, I think is
That's a matchup.
I don't know that Bucks and Colts game, depending on like how Wentz does.
Carson Wentz.
So I'm a Carson Wentz believer, and I know you probably don't want to hear that.
He's been trash. He's been trash ever since he got injured. That MVP season, he just hasn't been the same. He seems.
So hold on though. Could Dak Prescott become trash too?
It's a different mindset from both of them. I think Wentz was fighting too much, like internally,
Well, on the
from
team,
a mental standpoint of also building his team and trying to get his teammates to trust him.
Big trust.
Yeah, whereas Dak already has that. He doesn't have to worry about rallying the troops. Whereas Wentz was like trying to make plays and rally the troops.
I guess. I mean, they built a shrine to Nick Foles. You know,
That's what I'm saying. Like
he
lost the locker room.
When your guys' backup got laid out, they just.
Yeah,
I think he did. That's what they said.
But then it happens to Dak, and people are he's the leader of that group, and you saw it even last year when Jalen Hurts came in, and those guys were all pumped and hyped, and he provided a spark, and he didn't even like play well.
Yeah,
they just didn't like Wentz.
But I
at least-
think the thing too is that you have two quarterbacks, you have none. You guys have one quarterback, you're solid. He needs to be in a place where there's no backup, no Nick Foles, no Hurts, none of them. And I think he'll thrive in Indianapolis.
Right.
His issue is injuries. He got injured every season he's been in the pros. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be solid.
And for him, it's not physical; it's more mental.
Hey, real quick to end it. You guys see the new Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
I see it.
Yeah.
What would you rate it? 1 to 10. 1 through 69.
So
rated.
I'm a very harsh grader when it comes to movies. If I go to see a movie about combat, I want to see combat. If I go to see a movie that has an intense story, I want to see intense story. I liked it for what we got. I didn't like the new character, but I saw combat. I liked combat.
So 1 through 69 rated.
Kano was amazing, so I give it a 69.
What?
Yeah.
Was this better than the original?
No, because I think the original had better casting. But
Okay. What would you rate it?
1 through 69. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I'm not a harsh movie critic. I don't get into the plot, and then if you look at the climax of it, the storyline was just a little.
You're not going to see Mortal Kombat for story.
Yeah, no. What I liked about it, it was more gory than the first one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that to me. I'll give it a 47.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 60 out of 69. The only reason why, obviously, you're not going to go see a damn Academy Award winning movie.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not what you go see Mortal Kombat. But I do want to see a lot of the universe.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that was missing here.
Well, it's the
and
first
it's probably
movie.
because they're going to make a second, a third, or
Yes.
fourth. But I did want to see a Baraka. I did want to see
Noob
a Cyrax.
Cybot. You want to see Noob Cybot?
Yeah, you know what I'm
Ermac.
saying? I didn't like the reptile though.
Yeah.
I want to see the.
Well-
I know how reptile goes from reptile to like the green dude.
Yeah.
But like,
I wanted to see the green dude.
and I wanted
Yeah.
to see more.
You want to see the
more-
ninjas.
I wanted to see more Scorpion, throwback Scorpion, and Sub-Zero more of the throwback Zero, Sub-Zero, not the modern Sub-Zero.
Well, like the '90s movie didn't do Scorpion justice either, though. He had that like it was like a little snake that came out of his arm.
Yeah, he was like.
But you did hear the "get over here."
Yeah, you hear it in this one.
But you didn't. You don't hear the original one. It's just little nitpicks.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
I mean, I wanted to hear. I have nitpicks for days. Liu Kang was a nerd bitch. Kung Lao was a nerd bitch. You know.
Kung Lao was the goat in this one.
Yeah,
even though he
he was-
died.
I think Kano was the goat.
No, Kung Lao
Kung
was.
Lao was.
Kung
dope.
Lao was.
I like.
When he just sliced that girl in half and that shit's just
Yeah.
going. I was like, see, and that's
Doesn't-
what I liked.
He like stands over and
Where
says, "Flawless victory."
This
Yeah.
one had the edge of the old one was the gory. Like that's kind of what you missed
Yeah.
in the first one. Is it had better casting. It showed more of the universe.
I think the
You
fighting
didn't
scenes were
see,
better
like,
in this
heads
one.
getting
And
cut
I
off.
didn't until the end. I didn't hear the Mortal Kombat
theme, yeah, But I
What y'all
mean,
think of Sonya?
I think she was fine. I don't know. You know, they originally
alright.
cast her in the '90s as
better.
Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison. Oh, Veronica Vaughn.
Yeah.
You know,
I do want to see Kentaro. I want
So
to see
hot.
Kentaro, and who's the other one?
want to touch the hiney.
The dude. They had a statue of him. The dude with the mask. Shao Kahn.
Oh yeah.
Shao Kahn.
But
Oh.
they're gonna get into that. That's kind of what I.
And that's
yeah.
what
Because
I'm thinking.
did you guys notice that they don't actually go to the Mortal Kombat tournament in this one?
They
Yeah.
didn't. No.
So it's definitely setting up. When we see the whole universe, grand scheme of the bigger picture, it'll be.
Yeah,
all
I
better.
want to see Baraka.
I want
This
to
is
see
gonna
Johnny
turn
Cage.
into a Fast and the Furious like
Johnny
series.
Cage. See, I'm more into the villains. I want to
Yeah.
see. I want to see Quan Chi.
I like the ninjas. I think they should have showed more of the ninjas. I'm talking Rain, Ermac. I'm talking Smoke.
And this AJ Cole was like, all right.
Oh,
come on.
Smoke.
Yeah, he was
I miss
okay.
Smoke too. And that's what we have to base it off of, like the universe. Like it's gonna be a flick after another flick. So the only thing I gotta say is that it has to be better than the last one.
Yeah.
And then that way, when you see the 5 flick come together, that bundle, it all correlates with each other.
Yeah.
They're gonna do something where like the '90s cast comes back and they're like, "We're here to help you with Mortal Kombat."
Nah, I don't want to see that. They're like,
Well, other than that, was there anything else y'all want to keep going on about?
just real quick off the top, what do y'all think about Caitlyn Jenner running for governor?
It's retarded.
Okay,
I don't really care.
okay,
Yeah, it's like what?
yeah, it's just
Like, I don't live there anyways.
yeah. I just wanted to get your thoughts on
Feel
it.
bad for my home state.
Oh, it's in Cali too.
Yeah, California.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well, I think that does it for today's show.
That does it.
Thank you guys.
Kim Kardashian is single now.
Who?
Speaking of the
Hey,
Jenner family.
well, I'm taking
Hey,
that.
yo, you know, the thing is, people need to learn, bro. You can't, like, marry a Kardashian. You can't be with a Kardashian.
Can't do it.
They
Can't
ruin
do it.
every
Can't do
man
it.
that they have been.
Can't win with
Can't do
it.
it. Anyways, we out of here. We
Thank you
rocking
guys
like
for
cut off
joining us.
stocking TSR show. We out of here.